I'm in a bit of a dilemma. Like I mentioned in the last segment, I really don't feel as if the duels that are about to come up really mean anything. Come to think of it, what exactly is the point of this arc? There's no stakes, there's no story awaiting resolution, it's just a big waste of time. As a result of this, I believe that it's only fair if I skip to a duel that really does matter. For your sakes though, I will be showing the duels on the wiki page, since they really don't matter in the end, with the exception of the ones that involve both Yugi and Joey. Hey, so I'm just in the middle of recording I just got done recording a segment for the, I believe it's the final part of Grand Championship, and, so for this, what it's gonna be is it's gonna be the duels themselves in the arc, so I got the page open here, and let's just scroll down here and see the duels. So, we got a series of duels here. I'm just gonna read them off, one by one, give my opinions on each, stuff like that. So, first one here, I've got Luke versus Kyber Corporation Dual Tech 760, which is basically a dueling robot, actually a dueling robot. The robot ends up winning against Luke. It's an okay introduction. I mean, it's just okay. Yami Yugi goes up against the Dual Tech bot. Yami Yugi wins, of course, because it's a robot. It doesn't have rational thought. Joey goes up against Solomon. Now Solomon's inclusion in this arc, Solomon's inclusion as him participating in the arc was actually kind of cool. We never saw him duel before, and it was actually a real treat to get to see him duel. But Joey ends up winning. So yeah, Siegfried goes up against Rex and Weevil. I have no idea why they're included in this arc, but they are. Siegfried mops the floor with them. Paul McGregor goes up against Shane Jordan. Paul wins. I don't care about that duel. Balfrey goes up against Jafar. Balfrey wins. Rebecca goes up against Vivian Wong. Rebecca wins. Abe the Monkey Man. Jeez. Abe the Monkey Man goes up against Titani Lalos? Is that Lalos or Lalos? I don't know. But Abe ends up winning. Could have been a pun on Abraham Lincoln. I don't know. Ethan Shark goes up against Sergey Ivanov. I think that's how you pronounce that. Ethan ends up winning. I don't care. Leon goes up against Richard Goat. Leon wins. Siegfried goes up against Joey. Siegfried wins, which was a really bad duel in my opinion. Balfrey goes up against Paul. Balfrey wins. Rebecca goes up against Abe the Monkey Man. Rebecca ends up winning. Leon goes up against Ethan Shark. Leon ends up winning. Siegfried goes up against Balfrey. Siegfried wins. Yami Yugi goes up against Vivian Wong. Now here's something that's interesting, considering the fact that this is a tournament, and I'm pretty sure once you lose you're disqualified. So I don't know how a person that lost up here would get another chance to duel down here, unless Kaiba just doesn't care. But if that's the case, then why not bring these guys back, or why not bring back Rex and Weevil or Solomon? I mean, you can't bring the Dual Tech back because it's just a robot, but I mean, some consistency would be nice. Leon goes up against Rebecca. Leon wins. Siegfried goes up against Seto, which, in my opinion, that was a duel that didn't need to happen. It didn't need to happen at all, especially considering the fact that Seto went down and declared the match that Siegfried was about to have null and void because of what Siegfried had done. But anyway, so yeah, Seto ends up winning, and then the final duel is Yami Yugi versus Leon. Yami ends up winning. That's actually the only duel in this entire arc that actually resonates with me at all, because it actually has some substance to it, and it's actually it's a fun watch. It's a fun watch. I just put it at that. But anyway, more on the review and more to come later on in the review. Yeah. Look, this series is subjective and is my opinion. It's okay if you like this arc, but man oh man, I don't. Now, is that really fair of me to do? Some of you may be approaching the comment section at this very moment and are prepared to scream at me for how little I care about the participants. But to those people, here's the thing. Other than Joey, Yugi, and maybe Rebecca, I don't care about any of these characters. We aren't given time with them to get to know them as much as we have with Yugi and Joey, and to a lesser extent Rebecca. After all, we've had 4 seasons of getting to know Yugi and Joey. Not just that, but I wholeheartedly believe that this entire story arc disrespects the Pharaoh and his personal quest. Think about it. It's not rocket science. In fact, why don't we have a look back so that I can prove this point? When Yugi first solved the Millennium Puzzle, the Pharaoh was just seen as a trump card, and Yugi didn't even know about his existence until the very end of Duelist Kingdom, specifically during his duel against Kaiba. In the dub, the Pharaoh even states during his duel with Pegasus,
"Sorry, Pegasus, but I don't know what this face-down card is either. Reading my mind will tell you absolutely nothing."
How is he doing this?
You see, Pegasus, I don't know what that card is because I am no longer Yugimoto, but someone else altogether. Through the magic of the Millennium Puzzle, 2 minds inhabit this body.
There's one piece of this bizarre puzzle, so let's go even further down the rabbit hole. Fast forward to Battle City. The Pharaoh now knows that he was the ruler of ancient Egypt at one point. However, he can't remember who he is, or even what he did during his reign. He hears from Ishizu Ishtar that he has to collect the 3 Egyptian god cards and then hold them up to the ancient stone tablet in that museum. He gets them, and then in Waking the Dragons, he holds them up to the tablet, but it doesn't work due to Darts' interference. The god cards are then taken, with the Pharaoh having to go and get them back. Yugi's soul is taken, forcing the Pharaoh to confront his pride head-on while dealing with false accusations about him being an evil king. In fact, it's not until the final battle with Darts that we actually get to see a little bit of the Pharaoh's past. However, it's still twisted, leaving the Pharaoh with unanswered questions. And at the end of Waking the Dragons, Yugi believes that they're only one step away from unlocking the Pharaoh's memories, which primarily, in my opinion, would have been Pharaoh's memories. The arc, not the storyline. So, after Waking the Dragons, please go straight into Pharaoh's memories, please. Don't give us yet another filler arc with a dull storyline which makes me tap my foot impatiently while I'm awaiting resolution to the Pharaoh story. Now don't get me wrong, we do get that when we do get to Pharaoh's memories, but what we have here, at least in my opinion, is just a big time waster. Man, this has just been a rant about this arc so far. Well, let's get to the duels that I mentioned earlier that are actually worth something, and see if there's any substance in them. Here we go. So Joey is challenging Siegfried to a duel, and at first he wishes Siegfried luck, only for Siegfried to turn him down, due to Siegfried's own lack of reliance on luck. First of all, it's a figure of speech! Ugh! Ah, jeez. Man, what a jerk. Joey was just trying to wish him well. There was no literal meaning behind that. Oh my gosh. So anyway, the duel begins, and Siegfried starts with just a pathetic opening move. After that, he hacks into Kaiba's mainframe and security system, and now we once again have a villain that cheats his way to victory. He doesn't use any of his own skill, he just uses his tech knowledge to cheat his way out of this situation. Heck, I doubt he could even duel his way out of a paper bag. This is pretty much a repeat of the Joey vs. Johnson duel from Noah's Saga. But, you know what was fun and what was interesting about that one? Yeah, Johnson cheated, but at least he didn't hack anything. Now, technically those are the same terms, but we have to look at the context for each scenario. In Noah's Saga, Johnson had complete control over Joey's luck-based cards due to the fact that they were dueling in a virtual environment, and he was exploiting that control until Noah intervened and stopped him. Here, Siegfried is hacking the Kaiba Corp security system, which I'm pretty sure is a physical place, in order to manipulate the environment, in this case a lava floor, to begin erupting around Joey like it's a friggin' volcano. This isn't just cheating, it's also unethical due to the danger that it puts Joey and by extension the others in. Honestly, I don't even know what the point is in going on about this duel, since, well, it's a battle between a cheater and an honest, fair person, where the cheater ends up winning. Now, some of you who are watching this may be asking, why are you so ticked about Siegfried cheating when you were perfectly fine with Pegasus or Merrick doing the same exact thing during their tenure? Well, that's because it fits with both those characters and their respective environments. Let's have a look at each one. In Duelist Kingdom, Pegasus had the Millennium Eye, which allowed him to read minds and thus cheat at the games. Yami Merrick had the Millennium Rod during Battle City, which allowed him to create unique shadow duels with their own rules. Siegfried, however, doesn't really have anything like this, so when they try to give him something like this, like hacking and so on, it just comes off as petty. Because we don't know him, at least not as much as we did the other villains. Come to think of it, Siegfried not only puts Joey and the others in imminent danger, but he also puts all the other duelists in danger as well. I'm not even going to get into that one, seeing as how most of the duels in this arc are superfluous at best. But this makes Siegfried not only a cheater, but a homicidal psychopath. And I, for one, when I'm watching a show, do not want to have to deal with a psychopathic villain. There! That's why I hate him so much, and why I appreciate Leon more. A correction actually has to be made regarding my last video before we move on. In that video, I stated that Siegfried's backstory is not stated at all within the anime. Well, it actually is, it's just that I was angry at the time due to my own feelings about this character and this arc overall. So, I'd like to apologize if that angered or offended some people. That's not something you see on YouTube nowadays. In fact, Siegfried's backstory is actually given to us during his duel with Seto in episodes 194 and 195 to be exact. And upon rewatch, I will admit, he does begin to show some signs of sympathy, my bad. But once again, just because you're sympathetic doesn't give you the right to use your own brother once you've been taken out of the picture. Which is exactly what Siegfried does later with Leon. Speaking of Seto's duel with Siegfried, why does Seto go down to Siegfried and declare an invalid match, only to end up dueling Siegfried less than a minute later? Seriously, look at this. Seto has just found out that Siegfried, one of his tournament's contestants, has been doing illegal things behind the scenes. And if I were Seto, I would immediately disqualify him. But no, I guess Seto was too busy admiring Blue Eyes White Dragon-themed jets to even think of such a notion. There's really no point in dragging this out any longer, so I hate to do this, but let's just rush through and get to the finale already. So, Joey loses to Siegfried, Siegfried loses to Seto, and Yugi and Leon, or rather, the Pharaoh and Leon, begin their duel. This is the only duel that resonates with me at all in this entire arc, and it's simply because it's just plain fun. Plus, leave it to Dan Green to get me out of this torture. Yami Yugi actually makes a good case for Seto. See, at the finale of Seto's duel with Siegfried, Siegfried claimed that Seto had stolen one of his inventions. However, when asked about this by Yugi, the Pharaoh states this.
Kaiba may be competitive, but he's not a thief. His accomplishments are a result of his drive and determination. But Siegfried has been blinded by his own jealousy. He spent his entire life trying to outdo Kaiba, but he was always one step behind.
So, Yugi and Leon are on their respective ways to the arena. Leon is stopped by Siegfried, who presents Leon with a card, which he claims might bring Leon luck. This completely contradicts the statement that he gave Joey earlier on, but whatever. More on Leon in a minute, but just so you know, there's a small sect of the fandom, a very small sect, that believes something that I really disagree with. More on that in a bit. But Leon accepts the card and goes on to duel Yami. Leon is actually kind of bitter, and it's mainly due to Siegfried's interference, which Yugi actually picks up on. Later, a security man walks up to Seto, presenting him with a piece of paper. And I really can't do this scene justice, so I'll let Eric Stewart, the voice of Kaiba himself, do it for me.
Kaiba?
So this is the final part of your twisted plan?
Yes. And it took you long enough to figure it out.
Throwing away your own life wasn't good enough, so you had to drag your own brother down with you?
Now, to be fair, the reveal that Leon is Siegfried's little bro actually does get a fair amount of build-up in this episode. The problem is that as far as I'm aware, Leon himself has no idea about it. But then again, given his reaction, he could have known all along. But again, it's up in the air, at least for me. Maybe it's just plainly obvious and I'm just missing it. Seto was then given an ultimatum.
Don't lose!
Should I stop the duel, Mr. Kaiba?
If you disqualify Leon now, you'll be breaking the rules of your own competition. Duels in progress can't be stopped. Plus, if you pull the plug before a champion is named, then your entire tournament was nothing more than a giant waste of time. But that's only one man's opinion. You do what you think is right.
If I may, Seto is the one who put this thing together in the first place. He's practically the creator of this entire event, and he, as the creator of this event, has the right to stop it. If I were Seto, I would declare the duel null and void, at least until Siegfried was out of the picture. But instead, Seto... he just owns Siegfried with his next line. Oh my gosh, he just owns Siegfried with his next line. Here, listen to it for yourselves. It's priceless.
There's a little problem with your plan, Siegfried. There's only one duelist in the entire world who's talented enough to defeat Yugi, and that's me! And as I see it, your plan only works if he loses. But then again, I guess that's only one man's opinion, isn't it, Siegfried? So I'd say your brother has as much of a shot at winning as your company does of ever succeeding!
Whoa, now that was pretty low.
Leon's backstory is next. And here's the tragic angle for his character.
Ever since I can remember, Siegfried was the most important member of our family. Hey, Siggy! Check out this new fairy tale book I just got! Huh?
Don't bother your brother, Leon! It's time for his lessons now and he must concentrate! Now remember, Siegfried, you must study very hard. Your father can't run Schroederkorb forever, and someday our family business will be in your hands. As for you, see to it that your brother isn't distracted by all of your noise!
I promise I won't make a peep.
Also, have you ever noticed that the female who lectures Leon in the first flashback sounds exactly like a female Arnold Schwarzenegger? Yarr! After this, Leon reveals that he isn't fighting for himself, and he was fighting for his entire family. Yugi then states what I believe should be Leon's true motivation.
Dueling us? He should play for his love of the game, not his family's vengeance.
Deep down, he knows that too.
Leon later reveals a connection that he has with his fairy tale cards, and it's actually really inspiring.
In fact, there was a time when these cards seemed like my only friends. I guess it started when I began reading folk tales and fables to pass the time. It sounds weird, but I used to pretend that I was a part of the stories. The characters were so cool and the adventures they went on were awesome, and I wasn't the only one who thought so. Maximilian Pegasus felt the same way, so he created a whole series of duel monster cards inspired by these fairy tales. I suppose that's when my passion for dueling first started. And ever since then, I dreamed about being a champion.
So, to recap, we have a villain who's using his younger brother to get exactly what he wants. However, the younger brother is conflicted, as he's forced to choose between his passion for dueling and his passion and unbelievable longing for his family's attention. That, combined with Leon's upbringing and the complete lack of attention paid to him by his family, makes him a far more sympathetic character than Siegfried, simply because he has a more layered background. Leon draws the card that Siegfried gave him, with Siegfried convincing him to play it, complete with another flashback.
Here, take it. It might bring you luck. That a boy?
I've never even heard of this card.
That's probably because it's one of a kind. I've been saving it just for you, Leon. When you draw this card, I want you to play it immediately. Do that and the entire Schroeder family will have you to thank.
Really? Wow. I promise I won't let you down, down.
If these flashbacks are getting kind of old, the only reason why I'm showing them is to give context to my claims. But Leon does eventually activate the Golden Castle of Stromberg. First of all, the card's design looks really cool. But on the other hand, given the reactions from the spectators, nobody has ever seen it before. Now don't get me wrong, Siegfried did say that it was one of a kind, but at the same time, shouldn't Pegasus be aware of its existence? After all, he must have created the card itself. It makes for good drama and good suspense. However, Solomon and Professor Hawkins do give some insight into the card, so it's by no means illegal to use. It's just shocking that it is being used, since it was never meant for official play. So it's kind of like a collector's item of sorts. But what's messed up is the next bit of dialogue. I'm sorry I keep bringing these clips in, but it's just a more immersive and twisted experience if you see it for yourself.
Deck!
Siegfried, you realize your brother just played an illegal card, right?
I beg to differ, Herr Kaiba.
The card limiter must have been deactivated, and I think I know how.
Hold on. So that means that Leon is cheating.
I am?
That's the real reason you hacked into my computer system, isn't it?
How dare you? The king of games is about to be dethroned by a Schroeder, so you accuse me of cheating? Don't blame me, cause your cheap computer network decided to malfunction. Blame your poor excuse for a company. Face it, Kaiba Corp's heyday is over.
Come on, no one's gonna buy that. It's a fact, Leon broke the rules. He played a non-registered card in an official duel.
Fine. Then why don't you just go right ahead and cancel the match? Even though you promised the world a winner.
No matter what, this duel will go on!
Okay, Seto was in a bit of a pickle here, sure. But like I said, he should stop the match. After all, isn't it better to win fairly and honestly than it is by cheating and lying to win? Leon doesn't believe that Siegfried would lie and give him an illegal card, and so he continues to duel Yugi right after he rats Siegfried out. Leon actually states something very mature here.
You're right, my dream has always been to win in a duel against Yugi. But I refuse to do it by breaking the rules.
He refuses to cheat, but all of his attempts to destroy the council don't work. Then Siegfried reveals his true plan.
Spill it!
Well, if you think I hacked into your dueling program just to strengthen one card, then you're wrong. In fact, that card was nothing more than a key, if you will. And as soon as it was played, it unlocked the most devastating virus ever constructed.
Launch the antiviral program immediately!
Yes, sir.
Too little, too late. Every one of Kaiba Corp's program files and databanks are being deleted as we speak. And when your empire crumbles, Maximilian Pegasus will have no choice but to negotiate a partnership with me.
You snake!
All right.
Wow! Just wow! That's just beyond twisted and messed up. Anyway, back to the fun! Yugi and Leon work together to destroy the castle, with Yugi stating the following.
Destructible.
What happened to the Leon I met when this tournament first began? He wouldn't be giving up. He'd be fighting for his dream. Now duel against me with everything you have and show Siegfried what the heart of the cards is all about! And together, you and I will put an end to your brother's selfish scheme.
Are you sure?
Just trust me. Every card has its weakness. We just need to figure out this one, and we don't have much time.
Yugi destroys the castle due to the lack of cards in his deck to discard to the graveyard. Man, that's a mouthful. The two work together, and eventually Yugi wins. Leon eventually talks some sense into Siegfried.
Siegfried, listen. It's not our family's losses that hurt us, it's our attitude. Strength isn't crushing someone. See, dueling Yugi taught me that true strength is sticking with it when everyone expects you to quit. Sure, we may lose some of our business to Kaiba Corp, but losing is a reason to try harder, not to give up, right? So let's go home and make Schroeder Corp the best company we can.
Thank you, Leon.
So Yugi is still the king of games, and the arc ends with Yugi and his friends together on a plane headed back for the States. Or is it Japan? I don't know. Oh boy. So the Grand Championship. Like I said at the beginning of this arc's analysis, I consider this one to be one of the weaker storylines of the original Duel Monsters. Character development is practically non-existent, and most of the duels, like I mentioned, don't really matter, due to the superfluous nature of the characters. Speaking of the characters, let's get to them. The heroes are kind of wasted here, with the exception of Yugi and Joey. Yugi himself doesn't really get a chance to shine until his duel with Leon, and even then, he coaches Leon through most of the duel, particularly when the Castle of Strongberg shows up. But aside from that, he really doesn't have much to do. Same goes for Joey, and aside from his duel with Siegfried, he is really put on the back burner here as well. The villain of this arc, well, here's where I was going into when I was alluding while discussing about Leon. A small sect of the fandom seems to believe that Leon is the true villain of this arc, and that Siegfried is just a pawn on the route to King 4. However, looking at this arc, the opposite is what happened. Siegfried used Leon once he was taken out of the picture. Siegfried himself is a cheater through and through, even with his backstory making him somewhat sympathetic. He cheats to such an extent that he creates the Castle of Strongberg, hacks into its file, and makes it nigh indestructible. Not only that, but he also hacks into Kaiba's system and starts deleting massive portions of the company's data and possibly stock value as well. However, he is redeemed in the end through Leon's pep talk. Speaking of Leon, he's really the tragic figure here. He was neglected by his family, legally changed his name to Leon Wilson, but was eventually found and used by his older brother. Like I said, he seems to be split between dueling for fun and proving himself to his family. But through Yugi, he learns that defeat should only make you stronger, and that you should learn from your mistakes. The voice acting, once again, is solid, and I have to give some major props to Andrew Ronels, who not only provided the voice for Leon, but even Noah Kaiba, as well as Mako Tsunami way back in Season 1. So, way to go, Andrew! This may seem low, and surprisingly high, but I'm giving the Grand Championship a 3 out of 5 stars. Which may be shocking, given the amount of animosity that I exhibit towards this arc, but what saves it is the redemption of its main baddie and the actions of the characters involved. Next time, we're going to be diving headfirst into the past, and covering the Pharaoh's memories. See you there! Man, I wish I had a flying DeLorean. That'd be awesome.